Good afternoon. This is the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority meeting for Thursday, August 19th. I call this meeting to order at 2:04 p.m. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our Secretary Ronald Evans, can you take a roll call, please?
Okay, it looks like Stephen Roots isn't here. Paul Johnson's here. Francis Sheehan's here. And Frank Daly, our solicitor, is here. And Secretary Ronald Evans is here.
Okay, thank you. You all should have received the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second? Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any public comment concerning the agenda? Hearing none, we will proceed. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of July 15th, 2021, the SIGRA meeting?
So moved.
Second? Aye.
Aye, too.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. In lieu of the treasurer's report, we will proceed to the solicitor's report, and he may be able to provide us some financial status.
Well, I've been frantically looking. The local share that we just received.
Do you want us to come back for the for that?
I just found it.
Okay.
The local share quarterly payment that was received on July the 27th was $50,745.20. That is our biggest quarter yet, and it is been increasing every quarter. And
Turn it on. All right, I'll try that one more time. Sorry. The amount that we just received was slightly over $50,000. That is one of our quarterly payments. We originally started out at 27 and got up into the 30s and 40s, and now we're into 50,000. So we hope that trend continues. At the present time, the board, other than paying the solicitor's fee, has really not expended any funds, and I think that's one of the purposes of the meeting today. So, according to what I see here, we should be going on to the community stakeholders presentation. The other matters I have are under old business.
Okay, thank you. So you have nothing further to report under solicitor's
Nothing further,
report?
thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, we would like to invite Matt Schultz, Executive Director of the Historical Lansdowne Theater Corporation, to make a 10-minute presentation.
Thank you.
I'll take two for Steph. I'll take two. Thank you.
But then Frank's
Oh, we'll get Frank one.
That's okay.
There you go.
not. Oops, you have an extra, huh? Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to address the authority. I'm not necessarily going to follow in order in the PowerPoint. I'm sure that everyone can read that on their own. But the Historic Lansdowne Theater Corporation is a nonprofit that was created in 2000. Is this on? It is on? Okay. It's a nonprofit that was created in 2006 by two additional nonprofit groups in Lansdowne to take advantage of the opportunity to purchase and restore and reopen the Lansdowne Theater. The goal of the corporation is to acquire, restore, reopen one of the last remaining movie palaces in the Philadelphia region as a financially viable performing arts center to encourage community and economic development in the borough of Lansdowne and surrounding communities, to promote the performing arts and to provide enhanced educational opportunities to area students in an accessible, state-of-the-art, affordable venue serving Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia County. Excuse me, I left out Chester counties. The Lansdowne Theater opened in 1927 and operated as a single-screen movie theater until 1987, when it closed due to changing tastes in movie presentation, as well as there had been a small fire in the building. And the building, I tell people all the time that it opened in 27 and they stopped taking care of it in 28. So in its, during its dormant period from 87 until we purchased the building, the community rallied on multiple occasions to try to purchase the building. But it wasn't until 2007 when then State Representative Nick McCosey secured a grant for the nonprofit to be created and to purchase the building. So as soon as we bought the building, we started casting about as to how we were going to reuse it. Some of the guidelines that we used where we wanted to make sure that we could keep the building intact. We didn't want to divide it up. We wanted it to be a place of public entertainment, and we wanted it to be entertainment that the community wanted and would participate in, and to provide educational opportunities for the young people in our community to either perform there, enjoy a performance there, or participate in maybe an internship or other enhanced educational opportunities in the building. What we landed on was we were able to find, actually he came to us, it was a concert promoter, and the company is called BRE Presents. They're based in Haddonfield, New Jersey. They currently do shows at the Keswick Theater, the Mann Music Center, Citizens Bank Park, the Scottish Rite in Collingswood, as well as other theaters up and down the East Coast. He books singer-songwriters. So when I say that, think about the group The Mavericks, Buddy Guy, Straight No Chaser, Keb Mo, The Beach Boys, Derek Trucks, Indigo Girls, Katie Lang, Los Lobos, Dave Mason, Richard Thompson, and on and on and on. So we have entered into a long-term lease with him. Well, he will actually operate the building on our behalf, pay us rent, and in that lease that we have with him, there are carve-out dates for our nonprofit to use those up no less than 25 days a year to either put on our own shows, which we're really not a presenter, so we're going to turn over those dates to local school districts or local performing arts groups to use the space so that we have that mix of both having national acts there as well as local acts and serving the local community through providing them with a really incredible performance space. The other way that we will serve the community there is that BRE anticipates they'll attract 100,000 patrons annually to the theater. So you can imagine the opportunities for other businesses that want to move nearby to serve and capitalize on that large audience of the 100,000 people that would have no other reason to come to Lansdowne. So we're actually starting to see a little bit of a play in the market there with real estate changing hands and some development projects that I don't think would ever have happened had the prospect of the theater not been in place. Our economic development impact analysis shows that we'll create 51 part-time and full-time jobs in the operation of the theater itself. And we estimate that we'll create about 81 or catalyze 81 jobs to be created in the immediate neighborhood. To do all this, it's not cheap. Our budget has gone up to about $16 million. We are waiting for final answer from Congress, which we hope will be in October or November, on earmarks from Senator Casey of $1 million and from Representative Scanlon for $1.5 million. If those earmarks come through, then we're about $500,000 away from $16 million. Once we start construction, the construction plans are 100% completed. All of the necessary approvals for sewers and land development and zoning, that's all been done. We have a tax credit investor, WSFS Bank. They're on board and under contract. We've gone through what's known as a Part 2 of the Historic Preservation tax credit application. We've gone through that. The state has signed off on what we plan to do in the building. So we have done major lifting, a lot of it coming during the pandemic. So I'm very excited to say that I think that if Congress comes through with that funding, we'll still have a $500,000 gap, but if they come through with the earmark funding, we will be ready to start construction probably November, December of this year. The construction manager tells us that it'll take 9 months to do the construction, so it's probably going to take 11 months. So by the end of 2022, we'll be ready to open. So it's something that's been on the table for a long time in Lansdowne. We've obviously gotten buy-in from federal officials. The county's been very generous. The Borough Council's very excited about it. The media keeps writing about us. The community supports us financially, so I think I'm yet to find the first person that said that this is not a good idea. Usually everyone's reaction is, why can't you open tomorrow? So, does anyone have any questions?
So when you talk about construction, you're leaving this main shell of the building there, and then?
Yeah, so what's gonna happen is, and again, we have RCAP money from the state, so we have to adhere to the Preservation Act that protects the building. And on top of that, we're using federal historic tax credits. So what we're doing is we're largely restoring the building. So all of the finishes in the building, the layout of all the rooms, they're not going to change. What's going to happen is, because the theater was built as a movie house, the stage is only 18 feet from the plaster line, the front line, to the back wall. If you were to put a drum kit on that stage, it would take up half of the stage. So we're going to build a stage that's thrust into the house. So it'll be thrust into the audience chamber, and that'll be another 18 feet. So it'll be 36 feet at its deepest point. And also, because the theater was a movie theater, it didn't need dressing rooms. So luckily, we own unimproved real estate behind our building. So we're going to build a one-story addition that'll have a loading dock, dressing rooms, kitchenette, green room, temporary storage, crossover space. So the historic building is going to largely be restored. I tell people all the time, the thing that's going to throw people off is because from 27 until it closed, people kept altering the building inside. So what we're doing is we're uncovering all of those alterations, because we've got photographic evidence of what it looked like in 27. And we've hired Evergreen Studios out of Brooklyn, which is considered the foremost theater decorator in the world. So they've come down and helped us to better understand what the finishes will look like, and they will be under contract this fall to do the work. So the front portion of the building that everyone knows, yes, it'll be restored. The back portion, or the addition, will be constructed, and you won't actually see that addition from inside. From outside, it's tucked behind the building. So it doesn't really affect it. And PHMC and the Park Service have both signed off. But we're doing everything from replacing the roof, so all the mechanical systems, the seats are all coming out. We're somewhere along the line, people replace portions of the seats, so the seats don't match throughout the whole space. So we have a seating contractor who will come in, take out all the existing seating, bring in restored seating from the 1920s. And the thing that most stands out or is unique about the seatings are the ends, the end caps. He will take one of our originals and have them cast new, so that all the seats in the theater will be uniform. And if I didn't tell you the story, you would come in and say, they're the original seats. So.
What's the theater capacity, and will all the parking be on-street parking?
The capacity will be 1,280, and that includes, the reason it had been 1,358 originally, but when we make room for the stage and we make room for ADA compliance, and then we're taking 3 rows at the back of the theater for a sound and light booth, or it's not really a booth, it's just an area. So we lose those seats, so it'll be 1,280. As far as parking goes, there's a parking lot across the street from the theater that has just under 100 spaces in it. There's a parking lot behind the building that has 100 parking spaces. And then within probably, I'm not going to give you the street names because it's not going to mean anything to you, but within 2 blocks of the theater, there's about 500 parking spaces, both on street as well as the ones I just mentioned, in front of the building and then behind the building. And then we're a block and a half from SEPTA. We've been in discussions with SEPTA to have a train sitting at the train station at, say, 10:30, 10:45 at the night to take concert goers back into Philadelphia. And then there's 2 bus lines that one comes down Lansdowne Avenue, one comes a half block away up Baltimore Avenue.
When you,
Oh, go ahead.
when you refer to the developer fee in your uses, who's your developer?
The nonprofit is the developer.
Got it.
And what that allows us to do is to pay the debt during construction.
I understand. Okay.
And will the local school district, the school districts, as well as other nonprofits that want to utilize the building, are they just paying for labor cost, or was there going to be a fee for them to?
There'll be a reduced rental rate for the school districts, but the promoter who will actually be operating the theater will incur direct, as you suggest, labor costs to turn the air conditioning on and things like that. So, but there's some things that we're working on. I mentioned Evergreen Studios. There's an incredible arts program at Penwood High School, and I've been working with the art teacher there on some projects over the years. And what I'd love to do is bring in the art students to the theater when Evergreen Studios is there to see the artists up on the scaffolding actually doing art and making a living wage, doing really great art in these spaces. I think there's a myriad of opportunities for education, enhanced education opportunities for students in the short term as well as the long term. We're going to do internships for kids who are interested in managing a theater, rather than just focusing on kids who want to become professional musicians, because we're not professional musicians, but we can work with them in managing a theater and show them how they entered that industry and the different roles in that industry.
Thank you.
So I think it's a great opportunity for not only Lansdowne, but Eastern Delaware County.
So Matt, the earmarks that you referred to that Senator Casey and Congresswoman Scanlon have set aside for you, those are part of the initial infrastructure bill that's already made its way through the
No,
Senate?
they're part of the regular order budget. They are not part of that. So the regular order budget is if you could think of it as sort of the operating budget for the federal government, it's that budget. It's not the transportation, it's not infrastructure, it's the regular order budget.
So that is part of the discussions about all the other things that the House wants right now? Or are
No,
you saying
they are
no?
separate budgets.
Okay, fine. Okay.
So again, think of it as an operating budget, and then infrastructure, the American Rescue Plan, all those plans, they're almost programmatic in a sense, whereas the earmarks are from the operational plan.
So you're confident that
The-
2.5 million is coming through?
We are. We've made it through the first couple of steps on the House side. What happened in the Senate's a couple steps behind, but what ended up happening was Richard Leahy, who was the Democratic leader on the Appropriations Committee, he made a commitment to Senator Burr that they would split the earmarks 50-50 in the Senate. The problem is that 48 Democratic senators came forward and asked for money, but only 18 Republicans did. So do you still have to split it in half? Because how do you do that? Do you let the other 18 come up with crazy requests, crazy numbers? So
Okay.
that's
Thank
the
you.
hang up at this point. But yes, I do think at this point, there's no pushback on the earmarks. It's accepted, and both parties have put together their lists.
Okay. So that 500,000 that you're going to need, your window, you estimate will be from when to when?
I'm sorry,
The
I don't understand.
500,000 that you said you're already having some initial conversations.
We're
I
having
think
some
you
initial
mentioned.
conversations. Yes, we are. We're
But-
having some initial conversations. The other thing that we have not done yet is, and people have expressed a lot of interest, but I don't want to do it until that first crane shows up. People want to buy plaques on the seats. So we think that we can raise this probably $200,000 or $300,000 selling just the plaques on the seats, because we have a long list of people who've expressed an interest. But the cost of our seats is already figured into that budget.
And then you'll have some sort of a donor wall where you.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the largest single philanthropic gift you've gotten, or has it only been?
It would be
public
the
money.
RCAP gift, which was $4 million.
But no individual largest foundation or individual donor gift you've received?
The largest foundation gift would have been two $150,000 grants for a total of $300 from the Presser Foundation.
Presser. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
great. Oh, and last thing, if you want to see the theater, my card is attached to the PowerPoint. I'm there 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. Just call me. I'm glad to give you a tour. Or as part of Delco Arts Week, we will be open from 11 until 3 on Sunday at the is it October 3rd? Sunday, October 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you again.
Schultz. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, our next presenter will be Lori Grant, Executive Director of the Delaware County Historical Commission, along with Paul Hughes, the Outreach Director.
Hi, just for facial recognition, I'm Lori Grant, the Executive Director of Delaware County Historical Society. And this is Paul Hughes, our latest addition to the team, and who's been shown to be very valuable and is serving as our outreach associate. I guess the first question is, have you all been to our building? Have you been to this? I know you have, Francis. Well, then I encourage you strongly to come visit us, because no matter what I say, seeing our artifacts and touching our documents and reading our documents is far more powerful than anything I can say to you from this standpoint. I'm actually here not to talk about the 1724 Chester Colonial Courthouse, which is right next door to us. Has anybody seen that? Let me just put this in. You want to show this in context for you? This is the outside, a rendering of the outside of the courthouse. This is the interior, which still somewhat looks like this. This is after renovations, major renovations, to keep the structure sound in the late 60s, early 70s, done by John Milner and Associates. Anyway, just to put this in context a little bit, as I said, I'm here to talk about the courthouse because as the county's historical society, we feel it's important for us to step in when some of our most significant historic buildings are at risk of not being properly stewarded. So we have done so with the courthouse, and we have a long history with the courthouse. And I'd like to just put in context what the courthouse means to Delaware County. First of all, it's in Chester, which is the oldest town and or city in Pennsylvania. And the history of the courthouse is really well known throughout the country and in Europe, but not right here in Delaware County, which I find really interesting. We have this jewel in Chester, which is the birthplace of the colony, for the colony of Pennsylvania, and not many people in Delaware County know about it. It was erected in 1724 during the reign of George I of England, which is 8 years before the Independence Hall was erected in Philadelphia. Think of the traffic and the notoriety that the Independence Hall gets, and here we have this significant building right here in Chester, and nobody really knows about it. It served as the courthouse of Chester County, which is what we were called, from 1724 to 1786. When Chester County split off and this became Delaware County, it served as the courthouse of Delaware County from 1789, which is when the split occurred, to 1851. A few fun facts about the courthouse. Anthony Wayne, and we actually have his original deed at Delaware County Historical Society. He rallied and drilled his troops at the courthouse in January of 1776. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about that. In 1824, General Lafayette as a guest of the nation, was entertained in the courthouse. And Delaware County Historical Society actually has 2 of the plates from that famous dinner. William Penn held numerous trials in that courthouse, and some of our key laws, this nation's key laws, were developed right there in that courthouse, such as one must be tried by their peers and that children must go to school at 7. Those are pretty important laws. The courthouse has been sort of tossed around by owners over the last 5 decades. For the last 3 decades, the state has had stewardship of it, has owned it. And part of the Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission, PHMC. About 3 years ago, just by way of background, they approached the county and Delaware County Historical Society and said, you know, we can't afford this anymore, and we need to deaccession this, and by mandate, legislative mandate, we can only turn this over by way of a 99-year lease to a government entity or a 5-year lease to a like-minded nonprofit. At that point, and again, this was over 3 years ago, my reaction was, the state has more money than the county, and certainly more money than, or funds than the society. Hold on to it. That's what you were established for. That's what your mandate says. You're in charge of historic buildings. Well, 3 years, and Francis knows the history well, 3 years of somewhat frustrating talks between the county and the state and other nonprofits, and even the Bar Association of Delaware County has been active in this. It came back to Delaware County Historical Society. You know, what do you think? And I had 3 years of learning about the courthouse and learning its historical significance, and also realizing that state stewardship of such an important building wasn't the best formula, that it really did need local stewardship. And by local stewardship, I mean an organization and/or government entity that's right here, that can care for it, that knows when the doors are open, and that can open the doors regularly for what the building, for programming for the building. So DCHS stepped in on behalf of the courthouse and is currently working with the county and state so that the county will sign a lease with the state, a 99-year lease. It's not ownership, but it's a sort of a quasi-ownership. They're working out the details of what renovations or fixes need to happen before, that the state will pay for prior to turning it over to the county. There was just an assessment done by the county, by an architectural firm that really is a commercial architectural firm and deals with safety codes for schools and construction of schools. So it's a much higher level than what I believe is needed for the courthouse. Anybody who knows any historic building knows that it's just not going to be perfect like a school, or to the level that you need for school children coming in on a daily routine. So I think that the guidelines need to be lowered a little bit. What we're hoping to do is just get the county to open the courthouse and breathe some life in it at first. Just get the doors open and get some air and life in there. We have Delaware County Historical Society. We have already started working with interested parties that are forming an advisory committee to the courthouse. They will be known as the 1724 Chester Colonial Courthouse Advisory Committee. And that includes representation from the city of Chester, from the local historical society, Chester Historical Society, other historical society members, the Delaware County Bar Association, and we've even made a list of targeted committee members and did a survey to see how people rank them, so we find the top 5 that we want to earmark to add to the committee. We've come up with a working mission statement, and I'd like to, if you would, let me read this to you. The 1724 Chester Courthouse serves as an important living reminder of the rich history of Chester City, Delaware County, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The courthouse is of great significance to the development of the concepts of justice, equality, and freedom as they pertain to the administration of law. We've already even started working on programming. The 300th anniversary of the PA Supreme Court is next year. And we are looking to get one of their celebrations done in the courthouse next spring, which would be a really nice boost for not only Chester, but for all of Delaware County, to be recognized as a location that is hosting a 300th anniversary of the PA Supreme Court. The courthouse, again, if you see it, if you go in, it's just, I mean, it's incredible to walk the halls of where William Penn made some of the founding laws of this country. But everything costs a certain amount of funds. We are not looking for huge funds to support this. I think that if we can get the word out about the courthouse once the lease is signed, it's got not only a local appeal, but a national appeal that I think will attract funders. We're not looking to have people in the building every day, every week, 365 days a year. We're looking to do mission-specific events in the building, and it's always had Law Day there. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but we'd like to reinstitute Law Day there. It's a wonderful place to do. I used to work for Delaware law clinics. It would be a great place to do constitutional law clinic for one of our universities around. So I think that it's important for the county to protect these jewels we have right in our backyard. And we are obviously a huge supporter of Chester City. It's appropriate for the Historical Society to be located in Chester, as that is the birthplace of this country. It's a challenge, but we've taken the challenge on for the last decade. And this building, I think if it was any place else other than Chester, it would be well-known and well-supported, and I find that frustrating. So we are supporting it and putting a lot of our manpower and time behind it, and we hope that just hearing this today in your life, your colleagues, your aunts, your uncles, your children, you spread the word, your friends, because it's really special and significant to our history. And if this year hasn't taught us that we need to learn our history so we don't make the same mistakes over and over again, then I don't know what will. But I think this year has shown us that history, we need to learn and understand and put in context our history. And here is a building that is the oldest continuously used building in the United States that is right here in our backyard. So I feel very passionate about it, if you can't tell. Any questions?
So, Lori, until the lease is signed in other words, any kind of budget is currently in development, costs to renovate at different stages and levels?
It is. A basic outline was provided just this week by the architectural firm that did the assessment. I don't think it's feasible to think that the county or this advisory committee and DCHS can do that all at once, nor do we need to. I am meeting with the solicitor to review the report and go over realistically what, in comparison to historical sites, what should be done. This was done at a level that, as I said in the beginning, at a commercial school level, and that is what that architectural firm, which I fully appreciate. Yes, in a perfect world, it would be great. But I'm more interested in, for example, the second floor was renovated to become an office space and was leased out as an office space for the last 3 decades. And it's an easy renovation to take off some of that paneling and expose its true use, which was as a jury room. So none of that was in the report. Those are the kind of things that I think will appeal to our Delaware County resident or a private foundation or government entity to bring it back to its original state. And I mean, it's really just every aspect of it. The windows are 13 feet off the ground from the outside, and that was because that was done in order to keep onlookers. They couldn't see from the street what was going on and what was going on in the trial. There were witch trials there. Actually, Penn defended 2 women who were accused of being a witch, and it was just that they were brought over from Europe and didn't speak English, and the language they spoke, people thought it was like in witch tongue, and he actually got them freed. But some of the stories there, and or facts, and some of the facts that can be taught through storytelling, not only to our adult residents, but to our school-aged, our students, are really amazing. And I hope I've shared enough of my passion with you to get you excited about it, because it is exciting.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any chance to share knowledge about it. This is an original key.
Oh, okay.
Still used?
No. I'm sorry, I only have 4 copies.
Send them that way.
This
Hi,
is
Lori.
just about Delaware County Historical Society.
Thank you.
It's just, we are made up of 3 pillars, a research library, museum gallery, and an education center. And this is just a piece of our
Thanks, Lori.
museum gallery.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Our next presenter will be George.
Steve
Is
Preston.
it George?
It's Steve Preston.
Oh, this is Steve Preston? Okay, Steve Preston from the Share Food Program. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, sorry for being a little bit late. Appreciate you hearing us today. My name's Steve Preston. I'm the Chief Program Officer at Share Food Program. Share Food Program was just awarded to be the lead agency for Delaware County around state food and federal food. So what I have today is just a little bit of an update about what we've been doing so far. We've actually been active as the lead agency since July. I was here a few weeks ago. We just got approved a few weeks ago by County Council, but we've been operating since July anyway. So I just have a few updates about what we've been doing and what our plans are. So the second slide is actually just the agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about Share Food Program as an organization. Apologies to Francis, who has heard a version of this presentation probably like 3 times already. Then I'll talk a little bit about Delco as far as the RFP, what the needs and strategy are, our current progress, and then a little bit about the next steps for what we're doing. I know I have 10 minutes. I'm going to make it through. I have no doubt. So just on the 4th slide, talking a little bit about Share Food Program, in case you're not familiar with us as an organization. We're actually the largest serving food bank in the region and the largest independent food bank in the country. We serve more than 1 million family members and neighbors in need each month. And to break that a little bit down by program, we distribute about 5 million pounds of emergency food relief in partnership with about 250 organizations in the region. We serve the 5-county region here and primarily focus on neighborhoods of high need and partnering with organizations that are well known in their community. In July, we acquired Philly Food Rescue, which is an organization that actually serves the 5-county region as well. Since July, we've actually rescued over 240,000 pounds of food. And so what that organization does is essentially we have partnership with ShopRite, with Wawa, and if food is about to be going bad, if it's close to its date, we'll send a volunteer to come pick it up, and it will be delivered directly to a pantry or an organization serving food. So it's a pretty great organization. There's an app where folks can actually just get an alert when there's food who want to volunteer, and they can immediately go right out and get it and deliver it to a pantry. So it's saving a lot of food that would normally just go into the trash can. In addition to that, we are actually the only nonprofit in the country that serves the National School Lunch Program. Most of them are run by private organizations. The great thing about a nonprofit doing that is that we're actually able to offer healthier options to schools and to work with them a little bit on healthier options aside from that food. And so we serve 70 school districts in the region in the 5-county area, which is about 305,000 kids per month. We also, during COVID, started a new home delivery program where we serve about 3,500 meals directly to the doors of seniors and people with disabilities, folks who are particularly vulnerable to COVID and can't get out safely to obtain food. We are the largest serving agency for the state for the Senior Food Box Program, which was formerly known as CSFP, which was the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. Great little breakdown there. Very obvious what that program does based on the acronym. And so we serve about 6,500 seniors with a monthly box through that. Even through COVID, we're working with about 1,000 volunteers a month for food packing and home delivery. Our home delivery program is mostly run through volunteers, which means that folks come to the share warehouse, will pick up food, about 10 boxes, and then go deliver that to seniors. We also just recently got a partnership with DoorDash to do unlimited home deliveries to seniors, which is super exciting. That actually started this month, and we've been taking full advantage of it. So. And we also actually on site in our Philadelphia site have a quarter-acre farm where we do about 500 pounds of food every quarter or so, which goes directly to local seniors. Next year, it'll actually go to schools to provide nutrition education. We grow some pretty interesting stuff. We grow things that I had never had before. We're basically trying to teach kids about fruits and vegetables that they might not have access to on a regular basis. So the way that we became the lead agency was because the county put out an RFP. They had previously worked with the same organization for about 30 years. And so by putting out the RFP, they asked for a few different things. One of them was a dedicated food bank in Delaware County. It was Family and Community Services who was previously running this contract. They didn't have any dedicated space for the program. So that's going to be one of the key things that we're doing is creating a dedicated space that is a food bank for all the pantries. One of the things that we really want to focus on is equitable distribution among the Delaware County pantries, which I'll talk about a little bit in the next slide. Another part of the RFP was to develop a job readiness culinary program in the county. And then lastly, to really think about how the outreach is going in the county. There are tons of people who need access to food that are facing food insecurity. And so thinking about how we're doing a better job about getting the word out. So the next slide outlines a little bit about what our strategy is going to look like in the county. I'll run through this pretty quickly. The number one thing that we're going to focus on is equity. So thinking about racial equity and providing resources where they're most needed. Currently, basically how it looks is that pantries are opened where we can find folks who want to do it, who are willing to volunteer their time to open a pantry. And we're excited that we have the resources as an already established food bank to be able to help open pantries where they're needed and not just where folks are willing to do it at this point. So we're going to be working to provide resources where they're most needed. COVID's been actually an opportunity as far as food banking goes because a lot of organizations that are already really serving the community have stepped up to start serving. So we have tons of organizations that do other kinds of social services who are now willing to serve food to the people that are already coming there. And so we're working on providing additional resources like refrigeration and storage to those sites so that they're able to continue serving. A lot of the sites currently are volunteers who are working out of church basements, and so they have one small room to be able to store food. One of the main things we're going to be able to do to service this is to open a warehouse in the communities that we need to serve. So by having a warehouse actually centrally in Delaware County, instead of other organizations having to ship to Delaware County, previously it was folks getting food directly from the vendor, which was pretty far away. Now by having a food bank in the county, we'll be able to make last-minute deliveries, which requires less storage on site for each of the pantries. We're really going to focus on dedicating the required resources. We just hired a dedicated program director for Delaware County. Francis knows this has been a struggle for a while to find someone who actually has the capacity to do this, because they'll be running a warehouse and also running a pantry program. We've engaged a strategic planning consultant who's actually an expert in food insecurity. She has been working to do a lot of outreach with all stakeholders to make sure that they're a part of the conversation. We obtained a warehouse in Delaware County, and we'll be onboarding other staff as needed. We're going to hire a program manager to additionally help, and then someone to help run the Job Readiness Kitchen program. Next up, we've really focused on engaging stakeholders. So we're bringing people to the table, including funders, clients, pantries, other anti-poverty workers. We really want to focus on the no decision about us without us idea. And lastly, we just want to communicate consistently with partners and stakeholders. We understand that the key to any successful team is communication, so we've been sending bi-weekly updates, having regular calls with anyone who's fighting poverty in the county. We've ensured a pretty successful transition so far. We're having regular visits to the pantries and focusing a lot on community organizing. Pantry work really is community organizing at its core. It's people in neighborhoods who understand their neighbors doing work to feed them. And so at the core of any kind of pantry work is really community organizing. The next slide talks a little bit about the warehouse that we've acquired. We're about to be in settlement in early September. It's an 8,000 square foot warehouse. It will be for like more last minute deliveries. We have a 111,000 square foot warehouse in Philadelphia that will hold less popular items at. So the really popular items can come out here. The less popular items we'll be able to store in our bigger warehouse. The warehouse is in Ridley Township. We have been lucky to work with the county a little bit to build out refrigeration and freezer capacity, which will be done by the end of the year. And we'll have multiple loading docks, so we're able to have some pretty consistent deliveries coming in and out. As far as what we've currently done so far, we've onboarded 16 pantries. We've interviewed an additional 8 pantries to potentially be added to the state and federal food program later this year. Since taking over in July, we've already distributed 55,000 pounds of food here in the county. We've diversified the vendor list for purchasing for lower prices. They previously were all going through one vendor, and we're sourcing through multiple to be able to get lower pricing. Because of the Philly Food Rescue acquisition that we did in July, we've been able to provide additional produce and meals to pantries. Also in partnership with Sharing Excess, who also does the same work as Philly Food Rescue, but at a larger scale. So they'll go and get multiple pallets of food that's pretty close to expiration, and we'll be able to send that directly to pantries. We've acquired the warehouse. We hired a Delaware County program director. We actually just started a partnership with Penn State Extension to provide SNAP education at pantry sites, which is exciting because SNAP benefits were just increased earlier this week. And we also started an equity-based analysis to determine pantry needs. Previously, pantries had the same budget regularly to buy food, and they've had the same budget for about 20 years, all of these pantries, so it's not really based on equity. So over the past few months, we've been allowing them to have whatever resources they need, essentially unlimited access to food to really see what their need is and how many people they're able to feed so that we can actually make a real allocation based on what they're doing. And we'll also be using the new census data that just came out to figure out how we can make sure that we're mapping this in a good way. All right. I'm trying to get through it. As far as next steps, we're going to continue to map out Delaware County and the pantry network by poverty and race using the new census data, which will be us finishing the equity analysis. We're going to onboard additional pantries in area of high need. We're going to outfit pantries with additional refrigerators and freezers to meet their storage needs. And we're going to continue engagement and feedbacks with pantries, stakeholders, and other partners. Another big focus is going to be providing training and development around just general pantry best practices, around choice models to let folks have more choice in the items they're taking, equity, inclusion, and capacity building. As far as the warehouse, we're going to finish the settlement on the warehouse and then begin to outfit it with frozen and refrigerated storage. We're going to purchase a dedicated refrigerated Sprinter van for last-minute deliveries in the county. As far as programs go, we're exploring partnerships with organizations doing kitchen job readiness programs. We're not interested in reinventing the wheel around job readiness programs. There are a lot of organizations already doing great work, so we just want to jump on and enhance the work that they're doing. And then outfit the warehouse for volunteer opportunities. We'd really like to up the home delivery options in the county, which I really see as the future of pantry work, which is directly bringing the food to the people that need it, not making them go out and find the food, but bringing folks exactly what they need. And then onboarding a program coordinator and staff for the kitchen program. Time. I did it. I'm done.
Any questions from the members?
So do you have I'm assuming that you're developing a budget for the coming year?
Yeah, I actually do have a budget already developed, and it particularly includes some of the things we really want to do around education for the pantries, providing a lot of the things that I mentioned in the last slide, including, getting a Sprinter van, which is like one of the bigger vans with refrigeration that we can deliver fresh produce with, and I'm happy to send that over.
So the budget includes not only the expenses you're forecasting, but also where you anticipate your income will be, so.
Yep, exactly.
How much does a van like that cost?
A van like that is probably around, so we usually lease them because buying them is not generally a good idea. So the lease would be about $70,000 or $80,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for a refrigerated one, but yeah.
Got it. Mhm.
And I have a question. The Philly Food Rescue Program, does that include any donations from restaurants? So if they have food
Yep,
that
exactly.
is perishable, that they would donate that as well?
Yeah, actually, so they don't only donate their perishable food, a lot of them donate meals that have been prepared. And so one example is Wawa. So we get hoagies from them a lot, and we'll deliver them right to a pantry, and folks are able to take that right away and go home.
Okay. And the pantries are able to distribute that immediately, or is that done through the volunteers that may deliver some of those prepared meals to the recipients?
Yeah, so the way it works is we have tons of volunteers that have the app already downloaded on their phone, and so they'll get an alert when they're within a certain range of a place that wants to make a donation. And so you could be, sitting there on a Saturday morning, have the app and be like, I feel like doing something. And you open the app, you'll see an alert that the Wawa next to you wants to make a donation. And we'll have a pantry nearby that has the hours that they can accept donations in there. And so you'll be able to go right to that, go get the Wawa and go right to the pantry. It doesn't actually even touch our warehouse or anything. And so it's a pretty convenient situation. We actually got the app from Pittsburgh, 412 Food Rescue, and they've been doing this for a while. So they've already done a lot of work on it. It's actually pretty great.
And my last question, is there a cost with using the DoorDash service that you mentioned?
No, it's actually free. The state actually started the partnership, and so we know that it's free throughout the end of the year, and we're able to literally deliver unlimited. It has to be through the senior food box program, so it's only the boxes that come through that, but we could even make a delivery. We could say we need a delivery in an hour if someone called us and was in urgent need of food, and they'd be able to deliver just one single box. But the way we do it is we load it up on the weekends, and we'll give them 10 boxes and give them a whole route.
So Steve, have you worked with Senior Community Services and Surrey Senior Services so they're aware of the program and your role?
So one issue that we have right now that we're working on is that we're actually not the lead agency in Delaware County for the Senior Food Box Program. It's Fill Abundance right now.
Oh.
And so we have clients in Delaware County, but we are not the lead agency for distribution, so it's a little territorial at this point.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to actually go any further than that.
That's okay,
I'll end
no
the sentence
problem.
there.
No problem.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one. Similar to Francis's question, if we were to grant you money,
Yeah.
what would you use it for? Because you've got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of stuff to come. Is there anything that you target?
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
from us from?
the initial needs that I see, I think that there's a lot of need as far as pantry capacity goes, and really outfitting the warehouse. Those are the two things that I'd see as the biggest priorities, mainly because right now pantries don't have enough refrigeration and frozen storage, which is the stuff that people really want when they come to pantries. And so one of my priorities is getting refrigerators and getting them out to pantries, getting freezers, getting them out to pantries. Additionally, like the other solution for that is more storage in our warehouse. So being able to make last minute deliveries as they're doing their distributions so that they don't have to store it in their pantry as much. So we're able to just drop it off right when they're doing their distributions. So those are kind of the two things that I'd see as pretty immediate needs.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
thank you all.
Okay.
So we want to thank Steve Preston, Matt Schultz, and Lori Grant with Paul Hughes for their presentations today. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Lori.
So let's move on to old business. I make a motion to approve the DeSigra Open Records Law Policies and Procedures. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I make a motion to approve the RFP for DeSigra Web Development, Hosting, Email, and Web Management Services. I guess I should ask them, does anybody have any questions or comments on that first before I complete the motion?
We changed the date for the RFP to September 13th.
Yes.
Okay. Is that enough time for someone to respond? Do you think?
I'll defer to our
How
solicitor.
quickly will we be sending the RFP out to potential applicants?
Tomorrow.
Perfect, okay, great.
I listed 4, and Mr. Roots gave me a 5th one. If anybody else has
No.
any vendors you want it sent to, please let me know.
Okay.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Let me see what I have here. Okay, the last order of old business is financial discussion and advocacy on authority member selections. I know this is a long item. An establishment of economic community common theme for initial funding consideration. Essentially, just to sum this up, is we've had conversations over the last few months about our initial funding, and I think we've all come to the agreement after looking at several different impact grant applicants that Francis was able to provide us. It appears as though we've come to a common theme of funding youth-serving organizations and their families. So I think everyone is in agreement with that. That's an important need in the county that meets the goal of economic and community development. Are there any other comments or questions about our theme for our initial funding?
The only other comment I would make is that we be very clear in all the communication with any funder that, well, as you say, that for youth-serving organizations for their youth and family programs in Delaware County, but they're restricted to Delaware County residents. But you have that very clearly.
And you'll help me craft a letter when we send that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, we've set in our mission to focus on under-resourced communities. So, I mean, yeah, youth and families, in resourced communities.
Yes. And I think the motions that we're about to approve covers those under-resourced communities as well as serves people that may not be in under-resourced communities but have a need regardless. So I think it meets all of those criteria as far as the mission.
Well, looking at the website, looking at Kelly, I wasn't sure, Kelly Music for All or something like that.
Okay.
I wasn't sure that I noticed anything on their website, which is all I really checked, that they were focusing on or had a program for under-resourced communities.
I think their services are open beyond just the township of Haverford.
Right.
So the adjacent township is Upper Darby Township, so their services would be available to them as well as anybody else within the county, as far as I know. Do you have a comment, Francis?
No, just the letter can say very specifically that it's not so much it's for an under-researched, when we refer to under-resourced communities, it's not just a township, it's a group of people,
Right.
yeah.
Or like, Girls Lead, I think, is based in Wayne or something, but they're focusing all over the place.
Right.
As well as another music program, Brandywine or something in Western Delaware County. They're of a Chester program.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's move on. New business, motion to appoint Francis Sheehan as our Open Records Exceptions Officer. I will just make a comment. When I was looking through the documents concerning open records and right to know, we are required to have an open records exception officer. This would be someone that would make an appeal to a right to know request, and Ron Evans is our right to know officer. So if Ron denied that right to know request, they can appeal it, and Francis would be the officer. Frank, do you have a comment on this? Okay. Any questions on, before we continue with the motion, or comments? Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everything all right, Frank? All right. The second item is the following motions are for grants for youth-serving organizations for their youth and family programs in Delaware County for restricted for Delaware County residents for a total of $80,000. So I'm following council's lead, and I'm going to do these individually since they did this at their last meeting for each individual grant.
Can I just ask a favor that we, for that, that phrase, if we could just add after the phrase Delaware County, so youth and family programs in Delaware County with an emphasis on benefiting low-income children,
With an emphasis
on benefiting low-income children living in Delaware County,
benefiting
for a total of $80,000.
low-income children.
Do we need to define low income?
No, we don't need to.
Okay, because the only reason I asked is oftentimes you see that percentage below or percentage above type thing.
I don't think we legally, given our charter, which doesn't say anything about specifically benefiting low-income people, I don't think we need to be specific, but we're really saying to these organizations, unless you exclusively serve low-income children, we want you to make sure that your program addresses their
That's where
needs
your
as well.
focus should be. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if these are approved by county council, we can craft a letter with the award for that. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's proceed. I'm going to just say all of these are subject to county approval, just to streamline this. Okay. A motion to approve $5,000 grant for Kelly Music for Life. Second.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Harrah Area YMCA.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Women's Resource Center, specifically for the Girls Lead Program.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Community YMCA.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Episcopal Community Services.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go back to Darlington Arts Center.
Oh, did I miss one? Okay.
Yeah,
Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Darlington Arts Center,
second.
specifically for their art outreach program.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did I do Episcopal?
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, you did
Okay, thank you.
Episcopal.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Motion to approve, so many of them. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Upper Darby Arts and Education Foundation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I have Darlington on here twice.
Okay.
Okay. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Boys and Girls Club of Chester.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Chester East Side.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Chester, spelled Chester, Upland Youth Soccer.
You're joking about the two R's over, right?
It's in the agenda.
It's a Scottish thing,
Yes. All the, do we have a
or
second?
Spanish. Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Making a Change Group Connected Visions Program.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for the Chester Cultural Arts and Technology Center.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Elwyn's Early Learning Services, ELS, for Chester.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Harkin College, Upper Darby, for youth courts.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve $5,000 grant for Petaway Pursuit Foundation for their Harvest Food Program.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll go back to Treasurer's Report. I don't know, Stefan, do you have anything to report?
I will report, I don't have I will send after the meeting a report via email,
Okay.
but
Frank gave us the last payment.
okay.
Yeah, so,
And I know that was in the neighborhood of $50,000.
That's right.
correct, yes.
We made a payment to Frank, our solicitor, Daily Law Firm, of $2,500.
Okay.
And that was, other than an interest payment, the only activity on our books
Okay,
this month.
all right, thank you.
Do you remember what the balance is, Stefan?
Not to the dollar.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay.
Did you just say
50,000 or so, 160?
Including the new 50.
approximately, yeah.
What is it again?
Approximately $175,000,
So we've just dispersed 80, leaving somewhere around 95,000.
yes.
And a couple other things. We had a QuickBooks lesson. Myself, our auditor, and Frank. In order to have the lesson, I had to purchase online version of QuickBooks. So I'll be, I guess, getting with Paul so that I can write my check, write a check to myself. I think that was $25.
Okay. When you get a chance within the next week, can you just send us a short report?
Oh, no, I'm gonna do that today. Flat tire slowed me up today.
Okay,
I
no problem.
apologize.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
It was an ordeal. Other than that, I think is this a good time to talk about the website and the expense that,
We approved the RFP. If you want to talk about the expense for the domain name, you can.
yeah, the domain name, the service I personally use is called namecheap.com. And it's usually the most affordable place to buy URL. They're all pretty much in the same ballpark, within $1 or $2, especially when you initially get them. Just to be clear, we are looking at purchasing desigra.org as our name out in the web world. And we're going to also purchase desigra.com to redirect people who may punch it in wrong, to desigra.org. The place where I'd buy the URL also offers the email addresses. It's the most logical way to purchase them. I think it was 5 email addresses for a dollar amount. I just can't remember right now. I think I emailed you guys, but again, I'll put that in the report. I recommend just going ahead and getting it. I saw your note, Paul, regarding work that whoever gets the website, contract for, whoever wins the RFP. But, if we have it for them, they'll make sure it's incorporated. So I just recommend just getting it as a package. The URL, for those of you who don't know, is an annual fee. The emails are a monthly fee, but to be paid in advance for the year. So that's pretty much how they work. So they both are billed annually, but the URL is considered an annual fee, and then for I think $20 for the 2 of them, and then the email addresses, it would be a larger upfront fee because they just take the monthly fee times 12, and that's what we'll initially pay. And I think that's all I have to report on.
Okay. Frank, do we have to put a motion to reimburse him on the next agenda?
No, it'll be part of the treasurer's report.
Okay.
Should we make a motion, or I'd like to make a motion authorizing Stefan to undertake those expenses as described.
Okay. Do we want to go up to a certain amount?
What would be the maximum amount of what you just described, Stefan?
It's maybe $100 total for the email accounts and the,
Web addresses.
Well,
wait,
Can we-
the email can come directly out the account, the checking account, correct?
If we don't need a motion, I can withdraw it.
No, we'd have to purchase it, with a credit card online.
Okay, let's withdraw the motion.
That's fine.
I'll work with Frank on the motion for
Yep.
the next meeting. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I
Frank, do you have
apologize.
any other comments that we may have missed?
Only that I want to thank Stefan for his help in really supplying the guts to that RFP.
I'll
Thank you,
open it up
Frank.
to the public for
Thank you
comment.
for writing the RFP. That was pretty, very professional of you.
I'll open it up to the public for comments.
I just count who we just made grants to make sure it all adds up.
Say that again?
I just want to count who we made motions to. I'm only counting 15, not 16.
Okay, did I miss one by doing a duplicate?
Yeah, was there one in there twice?
Yes, you're right, 15.
15?
15 because Darlington was counted
Listed
twice.
twice. Is there somebody?
So it's 75,000.
Is there somebody I'm missing that we didn't fund that anyone can remember?
I don't have the original list in
Okay.
front of me.
Yeah, so I'll
If we
amend-
miss somebody, we can always check.
Yeah, so the following motions wasn't a motion, so we'll just change that to $75,000. And the individual votes were motions, so I think we're fine. And if we miss someone, I'll bring them at the September meeting. Okay. Authority comments, any comments from the authority, starting from Francis?
No.
Ron, do you have any comments in
No.
general about the meeting?
No, thanks.
When we say comments, what exactly are we
No,
commenting on?
just summarizing the meeting or anything as a result of this meeting?
Okay. Not as a result of this meeting, but I had an interesting conversation. It was a scheduled conversation with the CEO of Harrah's today. And I just, he sends his hello, Chris how do you pronounce it, Francis? Albrecht?
Yeah, Albrecht.
Something like that. I just wanted to make a connection between him and us because that's where our money comes from. It was just coincidental that we had the opportunity to meet, and we met today. He's very interested in sharing the PR for the awards that we grant. So he wants that to be part of the PR of Harrah's. That has nothing to do with us, but I think we should find some way to forward to him, who these awards are going to, and maybe they can get involved in the presentation of the ceremonial check or something along those lines. He's really excited. I got an education on where our money is coming from. So I don't think that's for the meeting, but maybe, we can all talk one day about what interactive gaming is and, what the components are and how we're getting the money and how some legislation can definitely improve the amount of money that we, not improve, but increase the amount of money we have with just the stroke of a pen from Harrisburg. So there's some legislation that we can actually kind of, advocate for to even get more grant money.
Well, so I'm confused on how it works. I see all the ads for DraftKings and all them. I don't think I've ever seen the Harrah's one, but I
Yeah.
assume they have some sort of.
Well, that was definitely a
online
question
gaming.
I asked. How does it work? They're Caesars. That's their parent company.
Oh, they're Caesars, okay. I've
They're
seen the
Caesars.
ad.
Yeah. So any activity on the Caesars app anywhere in Pennsylvania for slots, table games, sports, and poker that's on the app that you can download right from your app store. That's what's generating the money that's coming to us.
And the SIGRA gets an
1%.
allocation based on the fact that there's a Caesars casino in Delaware County, i.e. Chester.
It's the only one in Pennsylvania. So anyone who plays in Pennsylvania using this app, that's what we're getting our money from.
What if I play with another app? It doesn't come to SIGRA then? Yeah.
No. And it doesn't come to us if a person has the app and goes to New Jersey or
So that-
another state that has a Caesars. It would go to that state. And the other nuance is if someone traveled outside of a state, outside of Pennsylvania with the app, that state didn't have a Caesars, they can't play the game. It wouldn't even fire up for them.
State regulations.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have him come in for a presentation in a future meeting. But thanks for giving us a little bit of a snapshot about that.
And he wouldn't give us a free office, although we joked about that. But he did welcome us anytime down there. If we did want to have a meeting, have a tour, he'd welcome us
All
down.
right, thank you. I just want to, my comments are just, I think this was a very productive meeting. We got to hear from 3 community stakeholders. They were, some great things are happening in Delaware County. And I think that our work, as far as with these motions for these grants and approving them today, is what we're all about. We're trying our best to get this tax money back into the county where it can be used the best. So I just want to thank everybody for their hard work during this meeting, and I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned.